It's Thursday, January 26th, and time for your Barbados Today morning update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Not on my watch. Prime Minister Frondell Stewart makes it clear that the Barbados dollar will not be devalued by his administration. He made the assertion as he delivered the feature address at the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry's business luncheon held at the Hilton Barbados Resort yesterday.
Objective conditions in Barbados today do not justify any tampering with our exchange rate. At any rate, no persuasive evidence exists that devaluation exercises in other CARICOM countries has produced any spectacular results or facilitated the outcomes they desired. Put very simply, devaluation of the Barbados dollar is not an agenda item for the present government. There will be no devaluation of the Barbados dollar.
The Prime Minister also says there's no need to panic over the drastic decline in the country's foreign reserve. In the latest economic report, Central Bank Governor Dr. Delisle Worrell reported that the island had $681 million in reserves at the end of December 2016, some $246 million less than the $927 million or 14 weeks of imports recorded in 2015.
One of the principal reasons why our reserves levels took such an unwelcome dip below the 12 weeks cover was that even though we continue to meet all of our foreign debt liabilities on time and in full, the expected and corresponding public inflows, which should have come in before December 31st last year, did not make it in for various reasons. But, as fortune would have it, we know and can say with a high degree of confidence that over the coming days and weeks, those reserve levels will almost certainly be boosted by at least $250 million as the delayed inflows associated with the Standards Reconstruction Project, the First Citizens CAF-sponsored bridging loan for the upgrade of the Barbados Revenue Authority and Customs, and the completion of the arrangement for the sale of Barbados National Terminal Company Limited come in.
Employers could now face fines of up to $10,000 or imprisonment for 1 year if they are found to be in breach of the just passed Labor Department Amendment Bill. Under the original legislation, persons who refused to provide information to the Chief Labor Officer without a lawful excuse or provide false information faced a $50 fine or 3 months imprisonment. But Labor Minister Dr. Esteban Suku told the Senate yesterday that such a penalty was hardly a hindrance, hence the reason for the significant increase in punishment. In addition to the $10,000 fine, the employer could face a further penalty of $500 for each day they fail to comply.
So the aim is here that the fees would be a deterrent, but also the further fine of $500 a day for not complying with any order of the court would in itself too be enough stimulus for you to ensure that you make good on that order of the court.
Prison Chief Lieutenant Colonel John Nurse yesterday led rank-and-file members of the Barbados Prison Service in a rousing send-off for one of their own. 50-year-old Roger McIntosh collapsed and died unexpectedly on his way to work on January 7. The 2-hour-long funeral service at St. Luke's Anglican Church, St. George, ended in a tribute march in honor of the former prison officer from the church to the nearby Skills Training Center. During the moving farewell, family members and friends hailed Tosh as a devoted father, son, and friend. In a moving appreciation delivered on behalf of Her Majesty's Prison Service, Assistant Chief Officer Jeffrey Hoyt described Tosh as one of the best officers of our time.
He can still hear his loud voice at the gate or wherever he was assigned. Faced, he never left from, and a public response always at ready. A genuine force of nature in support of officers' rights And yet, while his cause may become deeply personal, his disagreements never did. He was a product of an age when the joy and nobility of work prevented individuals from becoming barriers to cooperation and mutual respect. A time when adversaries still saw each other as comrades. Roger McIntosh became one of the best officers of our time. He did it by sticking to principle and also by seeking compromise and common cause through friendship and kindness and humor.
Some action now from the sporting world. Windward Islands Volcanoes defeated West Indies under-19s by 21 runs in the third game of the regional Super 50 at the Vivian Richards Cricket Ground yesterday. Batting first, the Volcanoes were propelled to their below-par score with Sunil Ambrose, who made 54. Guyanese and West Indies under-19 World Cup T20 winning all-rounder Kimo Paul was the best of the bowlers with figures of 4 for 31. In response, the youngsters performed gamely but fell short in the face of economical and penetrative bowling from the Volcanoes. The under-19s were restricted to 200 for 9.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Read all about it, read all about it. Get your paper, only $2.25, let's get your paper.
You again with that stale news from yesterday. I got the Barbados today. I found my phone and I just get my news for free. What do she?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Regionally, the St. Lucia Teachers Union is hoping that due process will be followed as a disciplinary hearing involving a school principal gets on the way. We get more in this report from HTS News Force.
Walton Alfred is unlikely to face criminal charges in an alleged misconduct matter with a now former student. The female student was reportedly 16 at the time of the alleged transgression that reportedly occurred last August. 6 months later, a disciplinary hearing undertaken by the St. Lucia Teaching Commission has begun. Walton Alfred, with his attorney, Alberton Richello, first appeared before the SLTC tribunal on January 17th. The George Charles Secondary School principal continues to decline comment. However, the St. Lucia Teachers Union is addressing the controversy. Julian Monrose is the SLTU president. The union is resolute that the code of ethics must always be upheld.
We are aware that the matter is before the Teaching Service Commission, which is the rightful body to deal with it. All we, in these circumstances, always say is to ensure that the process is clean and that the process is fair. Because the SLTU has a position, and it is in our code of ethics that the relationship between teachers, and by that includes principals and students, must be a responsible one.
And on the international front, the head of the Knights of Malta has tendered in his resignation after becoming embroiled in a public dispute with the Pope over a condom distribution program. More in this CNN report.
Back in December, the Grand Master of the Order, an Englishman named Matthew Festing, fired one of his top officials for allegedly allowing the distribution of condoms in Myanmar through one of their charitable agencies. That official appealed the decision to the Pope. The Pope said he didn't want the official fired and he was going to investigate. But the conservative leadership of the Knights of Malta publicly defied the Pope and said they would not cooperate with the investigation because they are a sovereign order and they question the Pope's jurisdiction over them. But the Vatican pressed ahead anyway, and the result is the news we have today that the Pope asked for and received the resignation of the Grand Master. It's less a story about the distribution of the condoms, Becky, as much as the hardline removal of the official allegedly involved and obviously of the open defiance on the part of the conservative leadership of the Knights of Malta against their progressive Pope.
And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.pb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning.